So we're at this hotel this morning in the middle of Atlanta, downtown. And I was actually talking to a seller to buy a condo in this building right here. The seller advertised it for $65,000. A condo that's 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and 1,500 square feet. I'm a real estate investor, and my name is Julia M. Spencer. In any case, we're going to look at this property. So I don't buy these things sight unseen, obviously. I also do what's called a title exam. Paid my attorney to do a title exam. This whole adventure cost me $300. And I also ended up getting funding to purchase that property. He's asking for $65,000. I'm a couple of dollars into this already. There's a lot of problems with this property. We're gonna take some pictures here. We have a meeting with the owner at 10. I kind of already know the story. So it is a completely unmarketable title. Not only that, what's worse is you can sit on an unmarketable title and just rent the property or live in it yourself or whatever. But in this case, there are liens against this property that those lien holders could foreclose at any time without going through a judicial process, which means they don't have to go to a judge or to the court system in order to get ownership and possession. They could just go to the courthouse steps and call an auction, and anybody can bid on it. Could happen within 30 days. They have 4 weeks to advertise, obviously. And so what my attorney found out is that there is at least $200,000 liens on there for mortgages, different ones, and security deeds, which are superior to this sheriff's deed that this owner is trying to sell me. The father is trying to fix a really bad situation that his daughter got herself into, and she's the actual owner, and the father is going to show it to us. So this is going to be interesting because there's still money to be made with these kinds of deals, and there's options. And so we're going to explore those in the next segment. Hi everyone. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update what actually happened with this deal in Atlanta that I made this video about. And we ended up passing on it. It was just not possible. And as I mentioned before, the title was encumbered by a lot of security deeds, which were very high. And when we looked at actually the value of the property and the resale value, as well as the rental prices for that particular area of downtown Atlanta, it didn't look very good. And that, coupled with the fact that the HOA fees were $915 a month, which is basically money that you'll have to pay always. And if you're living in there yourself, the HOA fees aren't even tax deductible. They're only tax deductible if it is a rental. And so pretty much what would have to happen to make money with this deal is immediately put somebody in there that can pay those fees and pay back the loan. There still be this little iffy thing that within like 30 to 60 days, the security deed holders could foreclose. They don't even have to go through a judicial process. So the way the security deeds are written is that they can just advertise the fact that they intend to foreclose. They don't have to ask a judge for permission to foreclose. You advertise it, you prove that you've advertised it, and then you just go to the courthouse steps and sell it. What the seller was trying to sell me is not a property. They were selling me possession of a property for a limited amount of time. So we would have taken in possession immediately, started paying the HOA fees, and between 30 days onward, there would have been a foreclosure, and we would probably not recover the money that we have paid there. Now, there is a possibility to make money with these deals, and that would be to put somebody in there, a short-term vacation rental tenant. The HOA basically says that you can't do short-term vacation rentals. You would basically do it anyways, ignore the fees, don't pay the condo association fees, and just collect all the money. depending on how much time you have before foreclosure happens, you could recover that money that you put in there, but eventually you would lose this particular condo to foreclosure. Before the foreclosure date happens, you could strip the property, take out all the fixtures, all the appliances, any kind of cabinetry, lights, doors, windows, make some money on those kinds of things. But I felt that was just like really hurts to take apart a property in such a way. This would have been the only way to recover the money. Seller wanted $65,000 for this property. They paid $41,000. The HOA went to foreclosure on unpaid HOA fees. That's where they went to a sheriff's deed sale and got this property. The initial amount that was owed was $18,000 or $19,000, so they paid $41,000 and wanted $65,000 from me. There is still value to this property. Look at the time. If it could theoretically be foreclosed within 60 days, then really the property is only worth 2 months of rent that you could get for this property. That's pretty much the break-even point. So in that area, if you could get $3,000 a month for a rental amount, that particular sheriff's deed is only worth about $6,000. Obviously, they have possession right now. They've had possession for about 8 or 9 months. They don't want to rent it out themselves. They just want to sell it. And there's also difficulties with renting it out. If you rent it out for a year contract, but you get foreclosed on prior to that, then you're technically obligated to provide a place to your tenants, so they could be suing you later on if they don't get the fulfillment of their rental contract through no fault of their own. So there's a lot of trouble associated with this property. If you could drag out the foreclosure for a year or 2 or maybe 3 years, that might actually work. You might actually be able to make some money with this. But it's kind of unlikely. So we passed on this deal, wanted to kind of just educate you on it. It cost me $300 for the title exam. There was one thing that was not sitting really right with me with this entire deal, and that's the fact that the security deeds, once they were all added up, actually added up to more than what the property was worth. And they were drawn very recently. There was one security deed from 2023 or some from 2024, 1 to 2 years old, not very old at all. What bank will give you a loan for more than a property is worth? Usually if it's an investment property, they'll give you 70%, maybe 80%, but never 100% unless it's a VA loan. I looked over the security deed. I didn't see that it was a VA loan. It was just a security deed, a regular conventional document that's exchanged between a bank and a borrower to secure as collateral a particular property. And so we were thinking about this, and then we're like, maybe the seller wanted to not pay the really high HOA fees. So he just stopped paying the HOA fees, knowing that at some point in time the HOA will foreclose on those unpaid dues. When that point happened, he basically remained in the property and just let it go to foreclosure. When I looked at the documents, it happened for the HOA, it was for $18,000 or $19,000, which is approximately a year or 2 years of unpaid HOA fees. So the owner used the property and collected the rent without paying the HOA for 1 to 2 years. Then the property went for foreclosure. Usually what happens in the foreclosure is that whatever the overage is at the foreclosure sale, that overage amount is paid to the original owner minus any kind of senior liens that still exist on the property. So what if this particular owner actually drew up a security deed by using a friend, maybe somebody in the banking industry or even a private lender, and basically they drew a document, looks very official, but no actual money was exchanged, just so he could encumber the property enough that it would never really truly pass to any other person during a foreclosure, and especially not an HOA foreclosure, which is always going to be junior to a mortgage security deed. So he uses the property for 1 to 2 years without paying any HOA fee, saving that money essentially. Property goes to foreclosure, he gets evicted. By that time, he moved all the stuff out, everything's fine, and he gets to collect $20,000 in overage. The average rental amount that I saw for those properties in that area were $3,000 a month. But if you add $20,000 plus the $18,000 or $19,000 that he's already saved, he made $40,000 in a year and a half. It's close to the rental amount, but he didn't have to deal with any tenants. He didn't have to evict anybody. He didn't have to deal with the HOA, encumbering the property through a friend probably, without ever having any money exchanged, and not really ever being in danger of losing this property. So this new owner, these people that I was trying to buy this property from, they're like, okay, we made a mistake. We didn't do a title exam. We didn't know about the security deed. What do we do now? We just want to get rid of it. So they're advertising it for $65,000. As I just checked it, he lowered the price to $59,000. People are checking the property out, they're asking questions, but as soon as they see what the whole picture is with the title, they shy away from it. And I suspect he's going to lower the price even more because he's not actually able to sell the property with a good title. So the property will likely go to foreclosure again through the HOA, and the property overage will be paid to whoever the senior lien holder is at the time. And the senior lien holder, if there's several liens that are kind of like on the same level, will always be the one that's recorded first. Even if another HOA foreclosure happens, current owner that's trying to sell the property to me is going to lose the property. The overage is probably going to go to the original owner that has the security deed, and the whole process starts over again. So the original owner that encumbered the property with a security deed that's way more than the property is worth is just generating money with this property without really having to ever do anything. He's just holding the security deed, this little document that encumbers the property for more than it's actually worth. And that pretty much shuts out anybody that could ever be seriously interested in buying this property. It's a pretty smart move, as unethical as it is. Make sure you subscribe, check out my other videos, and I look forward to hear from you. My name's Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your #1 source for real estate advice online. Cheerio!
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.